we've got to kill the queen, as the case might be. We do what the fuck we want to. Kuva Kraken, good taste. Kuva Colm is disgusting. I haven't used it in a while, not because it's blatantly OP. It is, like, flagrantly. Is its status still completely retarded? Yes, 387% status is dumb. I don't care what anyone says. Where's my, phage? Why did that guy leave? I don't know. Maybe he didn't know we were doing liches? Did that person not know we... Wow, dude. Doing liches? Shroog. Oh, that's why. That might do it. Alright, I'm gonna go and kill this thing. Give me that murmur. Is he using his wormholes offensively? I don't see that much. Yeah, there we go. I'll figure out what it is that I got, and then arrange my Parazon mods accordingly. Oh, it's way back there. I'm not gonna go too far ahead. I'm gonna let them take care of that. I'm not gonna worry about it. They got it handled. I trust them to do what they must do in order to something. Great glorious 5-year plan. This is my world, and I am still here lurking. What on whom? What on whom? Could be Stalker on me, because I have a couple marks. Shiggity shank it. He did. Oh, he so did. Oh, something. Great physical unpleasantness. Something. Oh, I see. That's how it is. Well, I can do that too. So, oh, neat. Amber Star. Gimme. I like Amber Stars. Oh, wait, this one isn't broken. Never mind. Hey, no. So, one thing that does happen is your daggers, which is Desolation? Is that the name of the ability? Oh, where did it just spawn me? Okay, I was just confused a second there. Is they will go to that little clone decoy that your Kavat makes, if you've got one of the Kavats that makes the distraction clone decoy, a la Loki. And before this update, that was problematic. Or before an update or two ago, that was problematic. But, because it would effectively waste some of your daggers, but now that's not a problem. So instead of them being like, oh, well, daggers won't go to that, they were like, daggers can go to that just fine, but daggers don't. Daggers are free now. Daggers sent to allies are completely free. And I cannot overstate how much I love that as a change. That is, like, a huge buff in so many ways to Baruch. Massive quality of life buff. It takes an already potent frame and makes it bonkers. I do wish, yeah, like the mid-air attacks, the wall leap attacks on, I think, like, all of the stances are all pretty much identical. Air slams, basically all identical. Where is the... Oh, they've got... A lot of mid-air attacks are pretty much the same, too. But I kind of wish for stuff like Exalted Weapons they had something a little more unique. We gon' ride. Cool, Cosmic Spectre. Neat. Yahoo, which I may or may not have equipped. I do, actually. I think. Have it equipped. Right? Right, I do. We're good. Leave that equipped for now, and I'll make changes if I need to. Not gonna be for a while for me, but we'll see what happens. Oh, Deadlock Protocol is coming this week. Neat. Let me open that up in a separate window here so I can read what they have announced. We didn't like that. I can fix that. Not now. Don't ask me to update now, Firefox. Awful timing. More to the point, the last time I updated Firefox isn't long ago. It has caused me nothing but grief. To the point where I'm sorely tempted to revert. I don't like updating my software, not necessarily because I have a fear of the unknown, or not necessarily because I dislike change. These are both, I guess, technically true, or on a base level, kind of fairly true, but those aren't why. It's more the current drive from so many software companies to make their user interfaces hot, steaming, seething morasses of filth, squalor, and garbage. That's really it more than anything else. Steam, I'm looking at you. Whoops, there we go. Inhale, exhale. Deep breaths, we need it to focus. Fucking Steam's library update, like 6 months it's been, and that is still just a complete and utter shit basket. Because I really want to have to wave my mouse around on the user interface like it's a fucking Etch-a-Sketch. That's real high on my list. I don't care, just throw this stupid thing up. What I'm saying is, and that's hardly even, okay, it's a pretty bad offender. It's nearly the worst. It's probably the worst offender in that regard, but it's just like, exhale, inhale. You gotta breathe. I gotta remind myself I gotta breathe. Otherwise I'll be just angry all the time. And don't get me started on the complete shit show right now that is US affairs. Just don't get me started. That's not why we're here. We're not here for rants, political or otherwise. We're here to do some Warframe. We're here to relax, listen to some tunes, in this case, tunes that probably no one but me wants to be hearing right now, and I don't care at this point. I need to relax. So, what I'm saying is, Platinum Games re-release Mad World. And Max Anarchy. Good God, you need to release Max Anarchy, or Anarchy Reigns as we got it in the States. That game was so good. So good. It was as close as we've gotten to a modern Power Stone. So it's a little special to me. Oh boy. Hell no, I don't need ciphers. Ciphers are for the lost. There's not one up there, is there? No, there isn't. We're good. There's one over here, though. He don't die. He did. Super did. I kind of wish there were, like, female models for Grenier Lancers, I guess. But it's not that crucial. Is it coming? It's coming. I'm gonna wait for people, though. Nice, somebody's collecting caches as they go. I guess I can't fault them that. It's not the first time I've done that, where I've like gotten a wall melee attack. They're harder to get now, I find. They're also not very practical, wall attacks, because you don't have, like, you're on the wall and then you just kind of move forward a meter and then do your thwack, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess that's fine. Because I don't think they've had an updated animation in, yeah, like that. Years. And enemies tend not to, like... There. See, I'm doing one now. Why am I not latching? There we go. Yeah. So they're pretty underwhelming. Much to my chagrin. But yeah. Not much to say today, other than all the crap I've already said. I've talked some mad shit. Apparently there's kerfuffles going on with social media vis-a-vis digital extremes. Not knowing exactly what that's about, I'm probably going to say people are overreacting, because that's what people on social media do nowadays, is they overreact to petty bullshit. Or they just want to act like edgy assholes. I found that's awfully true as well. I'm not sure why exactly, but dollars to donuts, it's probably got something to do with people on the internet feeling like they don't need to watch their mouths. No desire to check themselves before they, well, wreck themselves. So, I don't know who said what first, and I don't care. It's probably something petty, like DE doing the usual, oh, you know, we don't support people being racist assholes, and then somebody says, ooh, well, I'm gonna be a racist asshole, and then there was backlash. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I've just heard, oh, have you heard about the bad things DE is doing? Or the bad shit going on DE's social media? And I'm just like, no, and I don't care. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. Life's too short for that petty, trivial filth. Come on, people. Come on. Social media? Seriously. Seriously, and I'm saying that as somebody who streams to multiple platforms, which qualify as being some of the scummiest owned by some of the scummiest companies around. Take that in your face, you know. I said, you know, so massive hypocrisy on my part, except I'm not earning any money from this, so I can say what I want. Did I? It was me. Whoops. I had not readied up. So cold. He's so cold. Now I don't know if that means that he's actually chilly. And that is something I am going to stream, by the way, is some Anarchy Reigns. I won't be able to do any of the multiplayer because I think the servers for Anarchy Reigns are down. But I can absolutely do some of the single player, which is some good 3D beat-em-up goodness. Location reached. Drop me in. Mad World I probably could stream, but there's some stuff I'll have to do to make that viable. I do have a way. There are ways and means I can make it happen, but it'll take a little more doing, I think. Worst comes to worst, I could probably just emulate it. Mad World is a bit more finicky in terms of gameplay, because it's a bit more specific, but it's really good. Highly recommend it. Great style, you know, it's got incredible style. This, you know, black and white grindhouse, black and white and red grindhouse thing that it's got going. So everything's like in black and white, except for all the blood. And oh, you bet there's a lot of that. Ah, man. Platinum has some really good games under their belt. I do sort of wish I had a Switch so I could play Astral Chain, though. But not that much. Not that much. Would I like one? Sure. If one fell into my lap, I'd be all for it, but I'd absolutely play it, but I'm not going to go out of my way. Just don't have the money to burn at the moment. C'est la vie. I'm doing this the hard way. I have Ruck Egg. Nice. Good name is good, my dude. I just realized I don't have the Steam overlay, so I cannot screenshot that. Oops. Ruck Egg, that's a keeper. I'm still a fan of my, to date, my only rescued one, Nad Air. I think he's pretty cool. Nad Air's a cool guy. He ain't smelly. He my friend. I do want to get more recruited. Although God knows when we're actually getting command intrinsics at this point. Next year. They, that's one thing that DE has consistently done, the whole massive hype engine thing. They do that a lot. They've got that down to a science / art. But last like 3 years, I'd say it's been really bad in the sense that, like, oh, TennoCon comes around and they do something that's like, you cannot possibly hope to make good on what you're trying to sell here. There's no way. They've come close, but it's like when you do this thing that everybody's super excited for, just to generate hype. It's like, well, people are gonna get overly excited for that, and then when it doesn't live up to that, live up to their image of that, then it's not gonna be, they're gonna be upset. Tone it down a little. Be like, don't get your hopes up. And then when it comes out and it's superb, that's how you get them. Which is how I sort of feel that Warframe was before, like in the old days. I can say old days because I was there. Things were still, you know, they'd hype stuff up, but it wasn't to the same extent. There was less of that. Speaking of the Anarchy Reigns, we've got their soundtrack playing right now. I didn't think I was going to wind up listening to any of this today. On this stream, I should say. When I try uploading these out to YouTube, I'm probably going to get zapped, but right now I don't care. YouTube's already got my streaming part of my account in limbo at the moment, so what the fuck ever. That's what I say. That's what I say. It's whatever. If the video's no good, then it's no good and I won't bother. Ain't no big deal. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to do the neutral block melee. So that does like 6 or 7 attacks. Your best bet is still probably just neutral non-block melee. I'm not sure. I haven't mathed it out for which one's better, but forward-moving block melee is not very good. I think these are supposed to lift, but they absolutely don't. They also seem to have very short range and do not do much damage. I'm not sure what that's all about. They seem to have like different properties, but the series of kicks, which is the neutral, I say neutral, and by neutral I mean directional input. No directional input block melee is really, really good. Lots of hits, they go over that really long range, and then neutral not blocking melee is also really, really good. Mix that up with some slide melees to get around and lift enemies, and oh boy, you got yourself a plan. Where? Progress did. Oh, yeah. Most damage, no surprise there. Most kills, which is a little bit of a surprise, considering I think somebody had a Brahma in there somewhere. I didn't dominate the scoreboard, which is good. Fortunately, it's all co-op and cumulative for everybody, so it's... If one person is grossly outperforming everyone else, it's not that big a deal. I think that's good. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? There's cat. I miss my cat. Miss my cat a lot. He was a sweetie. Let's go. Well. Is it at least halfway done? Yes, it's about halfway done. Nice, okay. They definitely feel like they go faster than they did early on. Well, after they got that initial patch. After the first major lich patch, which made it so that you didn't get any credit, murmur credit, from other players killing their liches. Those days sucked. Those days lasted way too long. It's a lot better now. It also feels like they've made it so it's a little quicker. I still haven't gotten all the Liberian cards. I'll do that some other time. I should really chip away at these. Okay, I got like another half hour before I gotta scoot and do some stuff. We're getting more players, apparently, which is good. Let me see if I have Pango. Nope. Corin. Still need the barrel. Still need the blueprint for the pangolin sword in Titania. Yep, still don't have the system. So I thought I did. No, it was one of the other. One second. Aerodynamic of all things interesting. You may not have a choice. Will to live. Oh, what a special little boy he is. Oh, bet you $5 it's a red and black paint scheme. I would have won that bet. I did win that bet. They are wearing red and black. Ha! Who's good? Frag's good. Frag's pretty good. Not a bone in my body that's peaceful. There's a couple really nice and goofy lines and lyrics in this soundtrack, but I think my favorite, they still don't top, I think what is one of my favorite goofy or questionable lyrics, rap lyrics of all time, which was, I'm rare like a black hockey player, which is true and does paint an image, is not really, it's just unexpected is all. It's not a bad lyric. I'm not sure it even worked in context, but does it not work? It does not work. It works. Whatever I'm trying to say, I don't know, I'm tired. My brain fried. And so I kind of, that particular lyric found its way into my lexicon for a while, in terms of, oh yeah, you don't hear about that sort of thing very often, because it's rare like a black hockey player. I stopped doing that real quick, because I felt real dumb. I was young at the time, okay? I was stupid. We are all, most of us, capable of improving ourselves, and we should be very proud of our ability to change who we are. I think that there is something to be said that indeed some people are less capable of changing than others, but provided you are an intelligent, thinking being, you can probably manage it. I think one of the core foundational cornerstones of sentience is the ability to run what I guess I'll call extrapolative simulations or models of given situations. And I think this ties right in with empathy. Somebody is marking an Orokin cell because I guess they still need those somehow. So it's, in my opinion, empathy is a sign of an intelligent thinking being, simply because it shows that you're capable of running a simulation of, hey, this is what X or Y situation would be like. What are the ways to react to a situation like that? What are outcomes, sort of thing. So think game theory, I guess. If you want to be real borderline sociopathic about it. I take umbrage with game theory, even though I took a course on it once. Um, oh, that's a new one. Dergartu Jidsig. Oh, that's a cool name. Oh man, that is a mouthful. Love it. Ease. That is a keeper. Keeper. Smart dude. You made yourself look like a fourth dimensional chess playing genius there. So, what was I doing? Oh, I was talking about the nature of sentience and how free will is is kind of a joke. Oh, that's right. I haven't had that rant in a long time. So free will's kind of a joke, but that doesn't mean we can't act like it isn't. I'm gonna kill this one. I'm close. They're not. Got it. I'm close. They're not. Here's. Oh, buddy. Yikes. That did a lot more damage than I was expecting. Oh, I'm scared. Free will is not a joke. Anybody who proclaims that and acts like that's word of God is not necessarily to be trusted. But at the same time, it's worth understanding that we are not fully in control of what we are, and this is easily observable the next time you're driving somewhere and you just kind of zone out and you make it to your destination without dying horribly. Or indeed, if you walk somewhere and you get there without falling flat on your face. Oh, but those are basic skills. How about the next time you tie your shoes without thinking about it? That's our bodies literally doing it for us. We're not participating. Free will isn't a joke, but it is not all it may not be a joke, but it is not all it's cracked up to be. But that does not mean you shouldn't act like it isn't. Or, yes, you should not be a complete asshole, because, guess what? Being a complete asshole is bad. That has negative repercussions. I mean, that's just basic game theory. Will to live is down it. I think that's his pet. Oh, there it is. I don't know where I'm going. Because everything's so dark I can't see. Punchy, punchy, punchy. He did. Being able to kill Noxes with zero effort is very nice. I'd like to state that for the record. Noxes are annoying. I think they're still, to date, the most obnoxiously durable enemies in the game. In terms of, like, non-bosses. I guess, some of the, Jackal Whites, and, oh, some of the stuff on the Orb Valis definitely gives it a run for its money. I'll give it that. Most obnoxiously durable Mimir enemy. That doesn't have, like, stuff like the Thumpers. Thumpers are annoying. Alright. All I know is victory. Dealing with caffeine whiplash, because I'll get like hyperactive after I have caffeine, and then the crash is really bad, and I do not take another cup to keep it going. I do not do that. If I had to do math today, I would not have taken coffee, but I do not have to do math. I have to play Warframe, which technically is math. Now we're gonna get a pontification. To whoever's watching this, I am so sorry. Today is indeed one of those days. I was in a really bad funk yesterday. I'm taking it out on people right now, and I feel sorry. But man, I got into an actually, this is an argument that I had years ago, but not yesterday. But it sort of ties in. Somebody who just refused, or just was adamant that, oh, well, no, there's no math in Warframe. What are you talking about? I'm like, dude, literally the entire video game is math. Every video game is literally math. Anything that can be convincingly claimed to have aspects of a role-playing game has math. Any shooter has math. Any video game, any game period has math going on somewhere in it. With very few exceptions. Maybe text adventures don't. And even then, you could make a solid argument. Because you're choosing route 1, 2, or 3. Where was I going with this? Somebody remind me. Oh, you're not in my head. You can't remind me. Ha! So that's why we should have empathy, is because we're not in each other's heads, but by God, we're able to run little mental simulations. I actually have an operating theory about the origin of consciousness and sentience and self-awareness, and it has something to do with the ability to run simulations in our heads of given situations. How we would react to a situation that we've never been exposed to, how someone else reacts to a situation that they've never been exposed to, but you extrapolate. So we are... Jeez, this is like turning into fever dream shit, and I apologize, but it's, or somebody who's pontificating while high. I can't do that because I don't have the device. But yeah, because, and this isn't like, I don't think verifiable by actual hard science, but I think it's worth looking into. I've never checked to see if anyone's done the actual grunt work, but I think a sizable amount, and this is pontification, of what caused us to become self-aware, or for a creature to become self-aware, is would be in its ability to run simulations of, or independent models of how things work and how things would happen. Basically, ask the question, what happens if this sequence of events occurs? How would I, this physical body, react? What would be the practical upshots or downshots of this sequence of actions? And then kind of just rolling with that. And then you kind of, at that point, because you've run this model, you'd have to set up a value in your model for the body in question that is going to be performing these actions, or not performing them, or have the net upshot of those actions performed around them, which would be you. And an individuality. So I think that stuff's cool. I think it's not necessarily practical for the way we as a species have structured our day-to-day lives, but it's interesting food for thought, I find. Now that I've gone and completely eradicated whatever viewing audience I had through my inane ramblings, well, I gotta get off of that. Even though somebody's gotta get on here sometime soon, because we've got that 4-minute limit, or 5-minute limit. We've used up 1:15 of that. Was that a Sigma Octanus? No, he's shooting his Ogres. I poked him. He died. Nice. Sabotage missions. Rejoice. So what's good in the world? Oh, that's right. That, what is it called? Disintegration? I think is coming out soon. What's that called? I think it's Disintegration. Yeah, Disintegration is coming out. It's like uh, you have like hover sleds and thralls or mooks that you guide around on like for the multiplayer. I was in the multiplayer beta a while back, and I was very pleased with how it was turning out. So kind of a combination of Descent meets, I guess you could say, aspects of a MOBA, like League of Legends or Dawn of the Ancients, Destruction of the Ancients, whatever, Defense of the Ancients, Dota. I forget what that was originally called now. My brain is fried right now, so I can't. Played a lot of it though. We all called it Dota though, so. I was never good at it. And then stuff like League of Legends and Dota 2 got popular. Hell, the original Warcraft 3 mod got popular, and people just became bad human beings almost overnight. I'll take C. This my city. Most people wouldn't choose a spy mission, but he's probably running low. And I don't mind doing them. Especially since you don't, for ones that aren't sorties, you don't have to get all of them. Alright, so depending on what we get, what I get. Oh, get through there. Easy. Let's see what the rest of the layout winds up being, because that could be somewhat finicky. Nah, we're good. Done with ease. Easily done. As they say. I say it. I just did. I guess, oh no, there's the exit. So if somebody's close to... Feels like my... Oh, did I get affected by like a bolt? Maybe that's what it is. Bop this guy real quick. You dead. You dead. You've been destroyed. Thwonk. I don't remember if there's a Curia here. I haven't had this exit tile in forever. It's been a long time since I had this exit tile. I know the feeling. That's another one I've had an argument over, is got into a fight over with someone who was like, I haven't had my lit show up in like 12 missions. He didn't show up in 3 missions. Obviously something is bugged. And I'm like, nah dude, it's RNG. He doesn't always show. But he's furious with me. And I'm like, yeah, I've gone like 15 missions or more without them showing. And that's after they were already furious, so it's RNG, my guy. Is it obnoxious? Sure. Would I like it to be more reliable? Maybe. Do I care enough to complain about it? Not really. There are so many other things that are more worthwhile to complain about. Like the state of the world today? Damn. All these states opening up, mine included. We're not ready for this. We're not, especially when your state relies on tourism for its GDP, for its just general survival. Bit problematic. I don't know why they're crouching. I'm not a... I'm not an Octavia.
Sit around and do nothing? Huh. They're fucking monsters out there, man. Somebody's gotta kill them. You can keep your justice, man. I got my justice right here.
Hell yes. I gotta get my daggers on them. Get these stuck to our our pod, which will provide it with damage resistance, which is nice. I think it's 50% if I get like 5 on there. Or does it just cap out at 50? I don't remember now. I think it caps out at 50 on the defense objective. It's on allies too, I'm not totally sure. Should have popped my 2 before doing that. Abilities not to be underestimated on Baruch is his 2. I don't use it much. Partly because I don't have a high duration, and partly because it's oddly slow acting. It takes a while for it to kick in. The effect on your restraint gauge is pretty much immediate, though, which is nice. Oh, he's with us now. That's nice. At a guess, he is not using the Zenistar, because that thing is not twice the size of his body. The Zenistar with that skin is kind of borked. It's actually a bug that they've kept in there, which I like. Oh, I can switch to Murder Fist mode. I should have bought my 2 beforehand. But it is a good, Baruch's 2 is a good oh shit button. Like, oh, things are not going well, I should hit this. But you have to use it kind of in advance of other sleep abilities, I find. But it's still good. His 1 is also good for those situations where you need to revive somebody. And because I have maxed out range, it's, you know, anything incoming damage is going to get dodged, which is good. There are some things it won't dodge. I think enemy ground pounds and like Eximus unit radial bursts and whatnot, like on Arson Eximus, this is Eximi, will not get dodged. But shots will, melee attacks will, stuff of that nature. I have not put it to the test against bosses. Oh, cool. I think I just did a finisher. Neat. Where are they? Oh, they're back there. Shoot. I went right past them like twice. The disadvantage that Baruch's Desolation, what is it called? Abilities. Desolate Hands is that it's very easy to lose the damage resistance from for your allies because you don't have many daggers attached to them. And it's not like 90%, it's 50%, which isn't bad, or thereabouts. I don't think it can get up to 90. If it can, then I would probably go for a maxed power strength build. I don't think I could get that many on there. I can only get a couple. I'm pretty sure it caps out at 50 for allies. And, oh, I'm on the pod already. Deal with it. I have a feeling that not everybody here is actually doing anything. I'm about to have my second murmur revealed though, which is nice. I'm happy about that. Happy about that. Or my second murmur, whatever those are called, I don't remember. There are actual names for these, and I don't remember what half of them are. That's interesting. I didn't realize the internal mesh was as borked as it was on these. I know I've stood on those before. I thought they were that broken. Obviously not. get that one? So I'm about to land on this thing, which is a huge mistake. Big mistake, Tenno. Big mistake. I am going to clear this thing because I don't want our pod dying. They do seem to be pretty aggro to the pod. Well, sit tight. We're almost done. No sense leaving and getting absolutely nothing for your time. Too late. Oy. All right. All right. With that, I do have to call it. So I do this every single week, provided I've got the time, which has been most of the time. Well, that may be changing in the coming weeks. So every Wednesday is Warframe Wednesdays. I also do other streams throughout the week. I do a Mecha Mondays stream, where I do something giant robot related or mecha adjacent. I also do a Storytime Saturdays stream, where I read short stories or indeed complete novels aloud for people's listening pleasure. Hopefully people do enjoy that. More feedback is better feedback. Yeah, that's about it. So I guess stay safe, stay sane, and life's too short for all the petty bullshit. So keep on trucking. Don't let nonsense get you down. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Fragath as always. Have a great week. Okay.